Hello everyone, I'm so glad to be back and feeling much better. And today I'm going to be talking about what I'll be doing to support my kidneys. But first of all, I just want to let you know that I am so immensely grateful for all of the good wishes and the kind messages. I've just been overwhelmed with messages, and I'm feeling so grateful. I'm really, really touched by all the kindness. So thank you so much. And now, thanks to that, I'm up and about. It's my first day out. And even though I've spent the last while relaxing, convalescing, which is vitally important whenever you've been ill, I've been convalescing and relaxing and resting, but now I feel it's time to start moving again to help my energy levels rise up again. So I've had a lovely stroll around the garden. I've been harvesting some beans and peas, and I'm getting some hawthorn berries, and it's nice to be outside, and I've been sitting in the sunshine, which is therapeutic in itself. And so it's been a lovely day, and I've actually felt a little bit useful again, so I'm definitely on the mend. So I'm in the herb garden now, and I'm collecting the last of the goldenrod. I've already got some of this dried in the house that I've been taking, because it's so specific for the kidneys and the urinary tract. So I think I was just growing it in case anybody needed it, because, you know, so many women suffer with cystitis. Thanks God I don't, but I just thought, well, I'll have it in case. And so now I'm going to be able to use it myself. So I suppose a lot of people were asking me what my protocol going to be, what herbs am I going to use, and what am I going to be doing? So I thought I'll start at the beginning, because if you've had a kidney stone, you know how painful it is, and you might want to learn a few things to help yourself not suffer with them in the future. You're probably already doing lots of things, because, you know, that kind of issue is definitely going to make people go off and find out what they can do for themselves. So, and also, if you've never had one, it's as well to be prepared, because it strikes so suddenly out of the blue, you just don't know what's hit you. So I'm collecting this goldenrod now, and my herbalist that I go to is sending me a tincture and a tea blend, which will have other herbs in, including Eupatorium, purpureum, which is gravel root. So again, lots of people have suggested to me some herbs that break stones, and I think most of them are quite exotic, in that they're not national here, they're not local to us in Ireland, but we do have our own stone breaking herbs. So I'll give you a list of those when we go inside to make the tea. So what I've discovered, obviously I've studied the kidneys and the urinary tract, but I've never really engaged it, because I've never ever had to. And so now I've really gone into some in-depth studying, and the kidneys are amazing organs that we just probably all take for granted. And what they do is they filter the blood. They also they're also relevant to blood pressure as well. But when they're filtering the blood, they're not just doing it blindly. they do it in a way that they will retrieve beneficial things and then definitely exclude things that are not beneficial. You know, toxins and real waste and everything like that. And anything that can be recycled, they send it back into the blood. So they're very, very clever and very, very efficient. So apparently about 70 to 80% of kidney stones are made from the minerals calcium and oxalic acid. You know, it's a calcium oxalate. And that means we've got to be careful what you eat, because you find calcium oxalate and certainly oxalic acid in lots of the foods that are recommended generally because they're so healthy. And so I'm eating a lot of foods such as beetroot and kale and potatoes and chocolate and almonds. Things that would be the mainstay of a good vegetarian diet tend to have a lot of oxalic acid. Spinach, chard, all the things that I'm actually growing. So I'm not really going to worry about my diet because I'm not addicted to any one of those foods, and they're all so beneficial that the best thing to do is make sure they're varied with other foods as well, and that I make sure they're well cooked, because if you boil your kale and your cabbages and things, the oxalic acid is reduced and it's boiled out. So, I mean, I can't stop eating everything that has oxalic acid in it, because then I'd have nothing to eat. And so it's just about being sensible, really, being sensible with what you do eat and not overdoing any one thing. And then, of course, we've got our herbs that are going to be supportive and nutritious for the kidneys and the urinary system. And I'll tell you some more about the other herbs that I'll be getting shortly. Another thing that I've learned as well is that if you put cheese in, and particularly sheep's and goat's cheese, into your meals, the cheese binds with the oxalic acid as well and helps to bring it out of the body. But I would advise you all to do research. There's tons of stuff all over the internet, but get a good book as well, and consult a herbalist. Another thing, of course, the other thing is absolute hydration. I would have been drinking maybe, I don't know, 2 to 3 pints of water every day, plus tea, and fruit and juices that we make, mainly vegetable juices. But I'm doubling that, because the more hydrated you are, the less likely those crystals are likely to, those minerals are likely to crystallize and create a stone, because you're going to be flushing them out before they get too big, before they clump together. Because I think my diet is very good and it is pretty varied, even though some of those foods would be classed as high risk. I don't overdo any of them, and it's, as I said, it's varied. So I'm not going to worry about my diet too much. So I've been doing some more thinking about what could have caused this, and I'll explain when I'm making the tea. So before I got the kidney stone, I'd already harvested some of the goldenrod, and I'll be taking this along with parsley peat, couch grass, horsetail, hydrangea root, gravel root, and yarrow. And there's a few more, but they're the main ones. And they are all either tonics for the urinary tract or diuretics, which will flush things out, or they are going to break up the stones if there's any other stones there. So I've been thinking about this little complaint I've had for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, and I've come to the conclusion I don't think it's a dietary matter for me, because as I said, my diet's quite varied. But I do think it's a metaphysical issue. And by that I mean the kidneys are very much associated with the emotion of fear and with anger to some extent, but mainly fear. And I remember when I came around in the hospital saying to Lol, I manifested that stone. And it's because I've literally been in a state of fight or flight, living in fear. And it's my own fault, because I'm very aware of all the machinations of, global leaders, governments and whoever that are making everybody's lives very difficult and stressful. I'm aware of all these threats that are coming down the line. But like Lol has said to me, and like friends have said to me, like my daughters have said to me, just stop thinking about it. Focus on the good things in life. Focus on all the things to be grateful for. And I have been doing that. But I think in the back of my mind, it's still been churning away. And even though I don't follow mainstream media and I've cut out all the headline alternative news, because that's just as fear-mongering in itself, even though it's everything I believe and it's an echo chamber, it still isn't doing me any good looking at that kind of stuff. So I've made a promise anyway that I'm not looking at anything anymore. And I think really this is the danger of social media. I thought I was tricking myself into thinking I'm just keeping up. I'm just a political person. I just want to know what's going on in the world. But I already know what's going on in the world, so I don't need to keep, looking things up or finding confirmation bias or anything like that. And I had a lovely call from a friend yesterday who said to me, she's decided she's just not going to involve herself with any of this. She sees herself now as a grandmother. Her role is for her family and community. And it just finally, that message that so many people have been trying to give me finally registered. So thank you so much, Roisin. So I am the sort of person who likes to be prepared. So it's like, oh my God, all these terrible things are going to happen. We've got to be ready. We've got to be prepared. I've got to do this, that and the other. And I've got to be the one who's going to save everybody. And it's ridiculous, because actually nothing has happened to me. It's all in my own head. It's all imagining the worst. And, if I'm powerful enough to create a kidney stone, I'm powerful enough to create a better world. And so I'm just going to be the change that I want to see. I know it's a cliche, but I think, cliches are cliches for a reason, because they're full of good sense. So yes, I'm going to be a new person, and I'm doing reflection on how I can literally actually get all of these worrying and fearsome feelings out. And I think it's important to mention, because I know there's loads and dozens and thousands of people with the same complaint. And I don't want to see anybody else suffering with a kidney stone. So I would suggest to people to just, think, yes, the world's in a terrible place. But like Lol said, it always was. It's just that we didn't have the internet, so we didn't know as much. And so we weren't living in a constant state of fear. And so I'm going to change in that way, but I'm also going to stick with, I've got my water here. I'm going to put some lemon in. I'm drinking 3 litres of water every day or more, and I'm drinking my herbal teas. So that's enough goldenrod in there for now. I'm just garbling this because it's all dried, and I'll be drying my other stuff there as well. I'm going to put a pinch of yarrow in, because yarrow is a lovely diuretic and it's a little bit bitter, and anything that's bitter is going to be of benefit to all the body systems. And in this particular cup of tea, I'm going to put in some nettle as well, because nettle is another blood cleansing herb. So of course that's going to help the kidneys, because the kidneys do all the blood cleaning. And I just love nettle tea anyway. I think I'm putting lots of lemon into my water as well, but I think I'm going to put a slice in the tea. And this is just boiled. And you know, I know when I go through these phases where I do drink a lot, you always feel so much better when you're hydrating yourself and flushing out the toxins. You know, you don't need to do anything overly special, just lots and lots of fresh, pure water and cleansing herbs. These are not detox herbs, but they are cleansing and supportive of the kidneys and the urinary tract altogether. So I've got my water here that my daughter bought me, this lovely big mug. It takes a litre of water, and if we put lemon in, it just makes it prevent any infection. And I must say, there was one day during my recovery where I felt really grotty, and so I had 2 pints of water with lemon in, and I just felt 100% better just doing that. And so, you know, lemon is absolutely renowned for killing bacteria and infections quite quickly in vitro. So putting it into your water is going to be very beneficial. And I cannot tell you, today is my best day, and I'm feeling really energized a little bit, not 100%, but I'm feeling so much better, and I'm convinced it's because of all the wonderful well wishes. So thank you so much again for those. I really appreciate it, and I'm just so touched that people went to the trouble. So I'm going to let my tea brew, and I'm going to drink some water, and I'm going to send you all back best wishes for good health for yourselves, and I'll see you next week when I'll be making a lovely condiment. So bye-bye, have a wonderful week. I hope you enjoyed today's film. If you did, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And have a look at the website danusirishherbgarden.com for more information about us and about the herbal medicine courses I offer and the Wise Woman Way training. And if you go to the shop, you can find the books, the weed handbooks and other herbal goodies. And remember, we put a new film out every Sunday. So looking forward to seeing you next week.